was nearing the end of 2012, and I had a conversation with a friend. I've always been very nerdy, and I was on a YouTube show called Anim Fantastic that my buddies and I produced. It was about animation, and I was the news guy. They were the really big nerds, but they hired me for free to read the animation news. But one time my friend was like, "Oh, there's this new Star Wars game, The Old Republic video game, and it's like World of Warcraft but Star Wars." Well, I had been a big World of Warcraft guy. It was a fond memory. My dad played World of Warcraft with me, my brother at times, and so I logged many hours. In fact, this is embarrassing and I hate to say it, but the day I quit World of Warcraft was when I typed /played, and it shows you how much time you've spent in the game on your account. And it was 30 days that I had spent in this virtual world. And that was a wake-up call.
It's a month of your life.
That was a month of my life that I played World of Warcraft. I know the World of Warcraft world like I lived there. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
Were you into World of Warcraft when they had the Panda expansion?
That was right before. That was coming out as I was dipping out.
Yeah, that was
I missed of Pandaria.
But to think, Bryan, that there are people, young people, older people, that are spending more time there.
My rule was that I would never turn down an in real life opportunity for to play World of Warcraft. Like if my friends invited me to something, and when I started to get temptations to do that around the same time, that was when I said, okay,
because of the pandas.
It was the pandas, honestly. So anyway, but this, I was very excited. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft game like with Star Wars, and so I was like, I got to play this, and it's free. You can play it for free. Well, I always had a Mac. This was a PC game, and but Mac. A while back came out with Boot Camp. You could run Windows on your Macintosh. That's something I'd always wanted to do, but had never done. Well, that began a series of hilarious events of me trying to install Windows so that I could play this game on my computer, and like just thing after thing went wrong. Like I bought Windows, but it was Windows 8, and it was so new that Boot Camp didn't run it. And then like the new Boot Camp didn't work on my type of computer, and my CD-ROM drive was broken, so I couldn't install it even when I had the CD, and I bought a USB drive, and like it was just like thing after thing over weeks.
Sounds like a normal day to me.
I had a podcast with my buddy at the time, and I remember even saying on that podcast, I said, I feel like the universe is telling me that it's not the time to play this game right now. I'm too busy, and I'm agnostic. But some of this weird stuff had started to happen. I had acknowledged at this point that the universe was like active in my life in some way. Hadn't called it God yet, and still don't. I'm not a pantheist. Just a side note, disclaimer, asterisk.
Right. But that's still on some level an entry point for evangelization.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that all built up to Christmas Eve. I flew home for vacation to spend time with my family. Arrived at home Christmas Eve. My dad's work laptop, PC, sitting on the table there. I said, Dad, there's this Star Wars game I've been trying to play for like a month and a half. Can I install it on your computer? Oh, sure, Bryan, go ahead. And so I start the download. It's like 30 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes or something. It's going to take a really long time. There wasn't gigabit Ethernet yet for all those Gen Z so I start the download. We go to Mass for Christmas Eve, my family, always faithful to Mass. I went and received communion. Because in my mind, like my parents still thought I was Catholic. Like I know.
Wait, Bryan, they didn't know.
They've seen all these Facebook posts. Like no, it was this crazy disconnect between. It's the same with the morality. This very weird disconnect. The mask wearing, the appearances. Same disconnect is there, right?
The disconnect was on your side. Like
They would have known I was Catholic, and so but I'm keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
So I go to communion, receive the Eucharist in a state of mortal sin, and return to the pew. I'm not struck immediately dead, praise God, because I would have gone to hell if I had been. And then
It's terrifying reality.
yeah, and then got back home. My dad is a doctor. He went and did rounds at the hospital that night. He was coming back a little later. Opened the computer. It's supposed to be downloading. Probably should have been done at that point. Well, the download stopped. And so I'm kind of chuckling, to myself. Well, I can't get it to start again. I'm pretty good with computers. Internet's on in the other computers in the house. It's only this one that doesn't have internet. I texted my dad, I think I broke your computer. He's like, okay, I'll take a look when I get home. He gets home at like 10 p.m. that night. And I'm still not sure that this is a real button that's programmed into Windows, but he right-clicked on network and it said restore connection. And he clicked restore connection. I don't believe that that's a real menu option in Windows. I've never seen it before. I'm A+ certified. I'm certified in computer repair. I'm pretty good at computers.
Yeah, you would know.
So, maybe. I mean, I
On
leave
some
that one
level.
up. I don't know that that's a Vatican approved miracle, but it's definitely a funny one to me. And download immediately starts as soon as he hits that button. But now it's going to be not till the next morning that the download's finished. And so I go to bed that night, and I woke up at like 4 a.m. I was always the kid that was awake way too early on Christmas morning. So I wrap myself in a blanket, 25-year-old man, like giddy on Christmas morning. It's been months of this, right? Go downstairs, and I had this moment on the stairs as I descended to the living room where the laptop was, and I could see the Christmas tree and the Christmas lights, and like I paused on the stairs, and like the feeling I got was so overwhelmingly Christmassy, and knowing that like all these hilarious breakdowns of technology had led to this exact time, I was like dumbstruck in some sense, or awestruck, of like, okay, God's real and he's somehow connected to Christmas. So in some way, Christ is connected to God. And that was my Christmas miracle, my epiphany on the stairs. Wow. And I continued to descend the stairs after a pause and this overwhelming realization that God existed, and was shortly thereafter hunting wombats in Beggar's Canyon inside the Star Wars universe.
So since you know so much about Star Wars, then being kind of a self-proclaimed nerd, I guess I have to ask you. Yeah. I'm sure you know the internal temperature of a tauntaun, right?
I don't think I know I don't think I read that section of the Star Wars encyclopedia.
It's lukewarm.
It's lukewarm.
No,
I just guessed it.
I knew.
I didn't know that prior. That's the first time I've ever guessed a dad joke.
I've even heard that
That's
joke
awesome.
before.
That's awesome.
I'm so nerdy that I was going back through the Star Wars encyclopedia.
There actually might be.
Is.
Yeah, it's 43
But then
degrees
you didn't
Celsius.
realize it was Isaac Fox.
Exactly.
And that
Right.
literally
Anytime
it had to be a
Isaac
dad
starts
joke.
this, you
I just want to
have to
hide
know.
under the table for the rest of the episode.
Oh
It's
my
too bad
gosh.
I'm the one being interviewed.
Well, Bryan.